The king of the swamp, Troy Landry, has always been the picture of strength and resilience. For over a decade, millions have watched him wrestle monster gators in the swamps of Louisiana, a fearless hunter who seemed totally invincible. But behind that tough guy exterior, Troy's world has been rocked by one devastating challenge after another. A secret undercover sting that led to legal troubles, threatening his reputation. A gut-wrenching family health crisis that no amount of fame or money could fix. And a personal health battle that brought the untouchable gator hunter to his knees. This is the untold story of the trials that are testing a legend, a story of pain, fear, and a fight for survival that's way more intense than any alligator hunt. The storms gathering over the Landry family are darker than anything you've seen on TV, and the king of the swamp is facing the fight of his life. Before the storm clouds rolled in, Troy Landry wasn't just a man. He was a folk hero to millions, the living embodiment of the Cajun spirit. Born in 1960 in Pierre Part, Louisiana, right in the heart of the Atchafalaya Basin, Troy didn't just learn the ways of the swamp, he was born from it. Gator hunting wasn't some career he chose, it was his birthright, a tradition passed down through 5 generations of Landry men who were trappers, shrimpers, and hunters. He learned to read the water, understand the gators, and respect the wild, fragile ecosystem he called home. In a 2012 interview, Troy put it simply, "Gator hunting is something I grew up with. People ask me, how you got into that? I didn't get into it. I was raised in it." That heritage was everything. While his ancestors hunted gators for meat, Troy's generation hunted for the hides and, more importantly, for population control. This wasn't a sport, it was a serious responsibility. When the History Channel launched Swamp People in 2010, the world met this larger-than-life character. With his signature striped polo shirt and his unforgettable catchphrase, "Chut em," Troy Landry was an instant star. He wasn't an actor. He was the real deal, raw, authentic, and unapologetically himself. Viewers were hooked by his skill, his humor, and his deep love for his family and his way of life. He became the undisputed king of the swamp, a title he earned by filling more gator tags than anyone and by the sheer force of his personality. The show was a monster hit, turning Troy and his family, his wife of over 40 years, Bernita, and his sons, Jacob and Chase, into household names. Together, they were a force, running an armada of boats every season. The 60-day gator season was their most profitable time, but Troy was more than just a hunter. He was a sharp businessman, a loving husband, father, and grandfather, and a passionate advocate for the bayou he loved. His net worth grew to an estimated $2 million, Cajun culture to a global stage. To his fans, he seemed indestructible. But as Troy would soon find out, life has a way of testing even the toughest men. The world he had built was about to be rocked, and the first challenge wouldn't come from the swamp, but from inside his own body. For a man who lived his life on camera, Troy Landry fought his first major personal battle in secret. In mid-2022, the seemingly invincible hunter was diagnosed with prostate cancer. The news was a brutal shock. For a guy defined by his physical strength and non-stop energy, the illness felt like a direct attack on who he was. For a while, he kept it quiet, projecting that same fearless persona on screen while privately dealing with the fear and uncertainty a cancer diagnosis brings. But Troy Landry isn't one to back down from a fight. He faced the disease with the same direct, no-nonsense attitude he uses for hunting. When he finally told his fans, he didn't sugarcoat it. In a raw Facebook post on June 1, 2022, after his surgery, his words were blunt: "Surgery went good. No more prostate. It was ate up with cancer." That was pure Troy. No drama, no asking for pity, just the hard facts. He thanked his medical team and all the fans for their prayers. Even then, his main focus was clear. "Got to recover before gator season gets here," he wrote, showing his dedication to his life's work. His son, Jacob, gave updates, letting everyone know his dad was getting better. "He's back home and feeling much, much better," Jacob shared in a video. "They think they got it all. He's just on the road of recovery." The family's honesty was met with a flood of support from fans sharing their own stories and sending prayers. The recovery was tough. He'd also had back surgery in late 2021 for a bulging disc, so he was already dealing with physical challenges. But Troy's resilience is legendary. By the next spring, he was back doing what he loved: hunting gators, filming the show, and spoiling his grandkids. He had faced his own mortality and won, but as the Landry family would soon learn, life storms often come in waves. Just as Troy was getting his health back, a completely different kind of threat was brewing. This time, the danger wasn't to his health, but to his freedom and his reputation. In the fall of 2024, things took a sharp turn for Troy Landry. The trouble started with an anonymous phone call to the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, LDWF, on September 18. The tip? Someone was setting illegal gator lines in Lake Pallord, using distinctive white flags as markers. That tip launched a secret sting operation, and its target was the king of the swamp himself. LDWF agents set up surveillance from a hidden spot and didn't have to wait long. They spotted Troy, along with a cameraman and others, tending to the very lines the tipster described. When the agents made their specific area he was hunting in Louisiana, alligator tags are property-specific, a strict rule meant to manage the gator population. Troy's tags were for a different parish. The investigation also turned up a dead, untagged alligator that agents determined had been cut from one of his lines. The consequences were serious. Troy Landry was hit with 2 citations, one for failing to properly tag an alligator and another for possession of an untagged alligator. While not criminal charges leading to jail time, these are serious violations in the hunting world, carrying the potential for hefty fines up to $950 for each count. For a man whose reputation is built on his mastery of the swamp and its rules, this was a major blow. The news sent shockwaves through the Swamp People fanbase. The king of the swamp, a man who preached respect for the bayou's laws, was now facing penalties for breaking them. His public image was suddenly at risk. Troy himself stayed quiet and defiant. When a local news station asked for a comment, he brushed it off. "I got a speeding ticket also last month," he joked, before adding, "but I have nothing to say about it." His daughter-in-law, Lindsay, also tried to downplay it, saying, "It was just a ticket. I don't know why everyone blew it out of proportion." Court dates were set for late 2024 and early 2025. The legal battle cast a shadow over the Landry family and the show. While he eventually returned to filming, the incident left a mark. It was a humbling moment for a man who seemed untouchable, a stark reminder that even a king has to follow the rules. While dealing with his legal issues, Troy kept working. And in early 2025, during the filming of his spin-off show, Swamp Mysteries with Troy Landry, the bayou gave up one of its most ancient and chilling secrets. In an episode titled Buried Secrets, Troy and his co-star, Pickle Wheat, were looking for evidence of a lost Native American civilization. What they found was something nobody could have prepared for. Their historical search took a sharp, eerie turn when they stumbled upon human remains. The first thing they found was a jawbone, perfectly preserved. "Oh my God, look at this! This ain't pottery," Troy exclaimed, holding the relic. "That's a skull. That's a jawbone, right? That's human, huh?" It was a wild moment, a collision of past and present deep in the swamp. With a local archaeologist, they kept searching and found more: skull fragments, a scapula, parts of a leg. The jawbone was especially startling, still holding pearly white teeth. The discovery had a deep, humbling effect on the veteran hunter. Troy, a man who lives by the cycle of life and death, was visibly shaken by this connection to someone who lived thousands of years ago. "It's a pretty eerie feeling that seeps in your bones when you have a person's jawbone in your hand," Pickle reflected. Troy agreed, "There's a thick feeling in the air now, all of a sudden. You want to kind up a little bit. The hunt for a local legend had turned into a moment of profound respect. The archaeologist was stunned by how well preserved the bones were, since the acidic soil of the swamp usually destroys remains quickly. This accidental discovery was more than just a shocking TV moment, it was archaeologically significant. It had the potential to offer new insights into the lives and burial practices of the region's earliest people. For Troy, it was a reminder that the swamp held mysteries far deeper than he ever imagined, putting his own struggles into a vast, ancient perspective. Of all the battles Troy Landry has faced, none can compare to the silent, agonizing one fought by his infant grandson, Crew. This crisis hit the very heart of the Landry family, an ordeal that makes any gator hunt or legal trouble seem small. This was a fight for a baby's life, and it brought the mighty king of the swamp to his knees. Crew Hoddard, the son of Troy's stepson Brandon and his wife Shelley, was born on July 13, 2024. From the start, there were complications. Soon after, it became clear something was seriously wrong. Crew was diagnosed with biliary atresia, a rare and life-threatening liver disease where the bile ducts are blocked, causing rapid liver damage. Doctors tried a corrective surgery, but it didn't work. Crew's liver was failing. His only hope was a transplant. By January 2025, baby Crew was officially on the transplant waiting list. The family's life turned into a painful waiting game. Brandon shared their anguish online, writing, "We now wait on pins and needles for a donor liver to become available. Organ donors are true heroes." Troy used his massive platform to share his family's pain and raise awareness for organ donation. In March 2025, he posted an emotional video of his grandson, writing, "Our little baby Crew. Poor baby, been on the transplant list for 2 months now." It was a raw plea from a grandfather watching his family go through unimaginable pain. The emotional roller coaster hit a peak in February when they got the call they'd been praying for: a potential donor liver was available. They rushed to the hospital, full of hope, only to be crushed. The liver wasn't the right size. It was a heartbreaking dry run, as his mother Shelley called it. Then, in June 2025, the miracle arrived. A donor was found. Crew was rushed into a life-saving transplant surgery. Brandon shared a photo of his tiny son in a hospital bed, a huge scar across his small torso, a symbol of the brutal fight he'd just been through. The first news was good. "Things are going good so far and his numbers are where they want them to be," Brandon wrote. Days later, another update brought a wave of relief. Brandon posted a photo of Crew standing in his hospital bed, smiling. "Good morning from baby Crew. Someone is happy to be in a regular room now. Nightmare isn't over. A transplant is a lifelong journey, but the immediate crisis was over." Crew, the smallest member of the Landry clan, showed a resilience that would make his famous grandfather proud. Through cancer, public legal battles, and the crushing weight of family tragedy, Troy Landry has shown a different kind of strength, one that has nothing to do with wrestling alligators. It's the quiet, steady strength of a man who just refuses to be broken. The king of the swamp, a guy who built an empire on being invincible, was suddenly laid bare, showing the world his vulnerability. His fight with prostate cancer was a stark reminder that even the toughest guys are human. He faced it with a gruff honesty that was both shocking and inspiring. He didn't hide his scars, he owned them. Then came the legal sting, a direct shot at his reputation. For a man who lives by the code of the swamp, getting cited for hunting violations was a deep and public humiliation. Yet, he remained stoic. He weathered the storm, proving that his standing in the community was built on decades of authenticity that his fans weren't ready to throw away over one mistake. But it was his grandson Crew's health crisis that truly defined Troy's resilience. Here, he was powerless. He couldn't chut this problem away. He was just a grandfather, watching his family suffer. His strength became his willingness to be vulnerable, using his fame to plead for his grandson's life and transforming their private heartbreak into a powerful call for organ donation. In those moments, the heart of the king was revealed. not as a hunter, but as a fiercely protective family man. Through it all, Troy has been a rock for his family, leaning on his wife Bernita, his sons, and his deep Cajun roots. He's shown that resilience isn't about never falling, it's about how you get back up. The storms may have shaken his kingdom, but they haven't dethroned the king. They've only revealed the true source of his power. An unbreakable spirit and a deep, unwavering love for his family, Troy Landry's story is a powerful reminder that even our biggest heroes face battles we never see. If you were moved by his family's fight, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. And let us know in the comments what you think about the incredible challenges the King of the Swamp has overcome. For more stories of triumph and tragedy, check out this next video. The life of Troy Landry has always been a show played out for the world in the swamps of Louisiana. But the real tests of his character have happened far from the TV cameras, in a quiet hospital room, in a tense face-off with the law, and in the desperate, prayerful wait for a sick grandchild. He's navigated a cancer diagnosis, a legal scandal that threatened his name, and a family crisis that brought unimaginable heartbreak. Each challenge has chipped away at the myth of the invincible swamp hunter, revealing something far more real and relatable: a man, a father, and a grandfather, fighting with everything he has to protect what matters most. The King of the Swamp has shown that true strength isn't measured by the size of the gator on your line, but by the size of your heart when faced with adversity. His story is no longer just about hunting monsters in the bayou. It's about battling the real-life monsters and finding the courage to keep going. And in that fight, Troy Landry remains a king.